Yes, what's up, YouTube? How you doing? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I don't still remember the last time I talked to you guys. It's been some time. I don't still remember last time we did a live stream, but hey, we are here. Thanks so much for joining in. As usual, this time around, we are serious. We are back stronger and better, and we're going to be pushing evidence-based content to you. Workouts. I've basically been focusing on myself, training hard to make sure that you guys are bringing for you the best content. So today, guys, I'm just be hosting someone. Someone I just found on TikTok. Is one of the people who does fitness content, and for some reason, I just found his content very, very educative. And I thought, how about I bring this guy to you so that you can ask him a question or two and also clarify some of the misinformation out there. So, guys, without further ado, allow me introduce my guest. Hey bro, welcome
Hi.
back to my channel. Oh, it's the first time having you on my channel, and I'm super excited to have you for the first time on my channel. I just can't wait. I wish we could just do this, and more and more and more and more. So introduce yourself to the viewers right now.
Thank you, bro. I'm very grateful to be here. And so I'm looking forward for us to do this more and more. My name is Kinyomu Chalo. I am from Nairobi, Kenya. And I've been working out for a while. And I read a lot. And I've discovered that in the fitness industry, people just follow people because they look good. They do not take time to understand what actually works. And that's how I met my brother here.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
Yes.
that's that's interesting. Um, so why Shredlane among all the names?
Oh, the shred lane.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually had another one. I was trying to build another brand. The name was Chipuka,
Okay.
but that name was already taken. The domain name was already taken. So I was thinking for a way to get another name. And during that time, I was reading a book called The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. So his brand is The Millionaire Fast Lane. So I took the word lane.
Oh.
Then there's this guy I follow, the guy that I've learned all these things from. His name is Radu Antonio. He also has a YouTube channel, and he has a program called Shred Smart. So I took Shred and I took Lane, and
Wow.
I put them together. The reason why I call it Shred Lane is because it is the most straightforward way you can lose weight. So it's a shred, then it's a lane. It's a straight lane, a straight
It's
line.
like it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
journey
that's what.
sort of.
Yeah, a very straightforward journey, because when you go to the gym, people use very complicated ways. Oh, do this, insulin, carbohydrates, I don't know, all those things. But for me, I know it's a very straight lane. I mean, a straight line. So that's why it's called a lane. You shred in a very straight line. That's why I
Okay,
call it that.
before we dive into the topic of today, what inspired you first to join fitness and give people all this information?
Actually, um, I've always worked out since I was a kid. But even when you look at me, I'm not very athletic. Um, but
Yeah, I'm
as
on.
a
You can
kid, yes.
I'm on. You can continue. It's just a solo broadcast for you now.
Oh yeah, this one. Okay. So the thing is, I've always wanted. As a kid, I used to. My dad was very strict, and he used to beat us if we go outside the house. So we used to spend most of the time in the house. And during that time, we used to watch wrestling and movies. You know, people like Rambo, Commando. You know those movies. And I used to admire how those people are looking. And I used to think that everyone looks like that. But the problem is, when I removed my shirt, I I I used to look funny, and I got concerned about this, and I wanted to have a six-pack abs. That was after high school, and that's when I started going to the gyms. First of all, I started working at the gym. Then slowly, I started working out. Then, since I like reading and I am very curious, I kept on asking people questions. Why does the body work this way? This way. If I want six packs, how should I do? What should I do? How should I work out? Which food should I have? Now, since I am that curious person and I was not seeing the results I wanted, I began reading.
And which year are we talking about?
It's quite a. So I finished high school in 2015. I mean in 2014. So by 2015, I was already out. And I had a sister who was trying to lose weight and she started going to a gym. Then one day she took me to the gym. So, and I enjoyed looking at those guys working out. Then I asked if I can get a job there. And
Wow.
I was also doing home workouts like the push-ups and other things.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, let's dive into our topic.
Okay.
So right now, fitness is a trend. It's a global
Mm-hmm.
trend, and it's taking the world by storm. Everyone wants
Yes.
to get in shape, but most of the people don't know what to do. I mean, it's only 1% that looks shredded, that looks that has that athletic body, but then the 99% they're trying to look like the 1%, and the
Yes.
99% don't know what to do to attain what the 1% has. And hence, this brings us to how can you get shredded? How can you lose fat? How can you lose weight? How can you build muscle so that you can improve your quality of life, but also your longevity? Because you can live longer, but with poor quality of life. But this time
Yes.
we want both, so that you can
Yeah.
have a good quality of life and also live a little bit longer. But then the most trending part is everyone wants to lose weight. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but the biggest percentage in every country, you're going to find that they are either overweight or there are some countries out there which actually have high population of obese people. So everyone is focusing on how can I lose weight, how can I look shredded. Let's first talk about what is weight loss and how is it different from fat loss, because most people tend to confuse that too.
Yeah, it's true. So, like when you look at our society now, one of the reasons why people are trying to lose weight is because things are becoming easier. When you compare ourselves with our ancestors, life is very easy for us. We can access food very easily, and this is why we are getting overweight. We are not very active, and the results are that we gain a lot of weight. So, what is the difference between weight loss and fat loss? Because they are not the same thing. When you see people talk about these things as if they're the same thing, but they are not. So this is how I define weight loss. Weight loss is is the actual number on the weighing scale. It's very overall. When the number on the weighing scale reduces, then you're losing weight. But that does not mean you're losing fat. It could mean many things. Maybe you're losing water because some people retain water depending on their how do I say it? Like sometimes we bloat, sometimes we. I think you're getting what I'm saying. Eh? Like
Yeah, I get it.
we tend to hold water for some people. So you might lose some water, then you think you're losing weight. But yeah, it's weight. You've lost weight. So it can be water loss, it can be fat loss, it can be muscle loss. That is what weight loss is, the overall thing. But losing weight does not mean your body composition is going to change. The guys who are going to the gym, people like us, our goal is to improve our body composition. And this means we want to have a better ratio of fat to muscle, of muscle to fat. That means we want to have more muscle than the average person. And we want to have less fat than the average person. Now, for you to do this, now you need to lose fat. It's no longer about losing water or losing muscle. And that's when it comes to weight loss, it can happen by accident. Like you can get sick and lose muscle and fat and everything. We can say that was an accident. But now, when it comes to losing fat, it must be very deliberate. It will never happen by itself. Mm. And that's why people like you and me, we study these things and understand how they work. Like, for example, if you want to lose fat, you know the basics. Number one, you must be in a negative energy balance. That means the amount of energy you're consuming through food needs to be less than the one you're expending. So you could come up with a caloric deficit where you consume less than what your body uses, or you could just consume the same but move your body more. That means it will put you in a deficit because you're consuming this amount, then you are spending this amount. When this happens, the body will need to look for energy. When you okay, there's this writer who says,
Okay, before that,
okay,
some
okay, I'm
people, I
sorry,
know there's
I'm
someone
getting
watching
carried
here
away.
that doesn't even know what is a calorie. In the first
Okay,
place,
okay.
what is a calorie or what are
I'm
calories?
I'm
I
sorry,
don't
I'm getting carried away. I'm getting carried
know
away.
exactly. So let's talk to the layman's or a lay person out there who has never really heard about these things.
Okay. So when I explain things like energy and energy balance, I like explain it in a way that people can understand. So this is what I tell people. All of us are energy. I am energy, you are energy. Everything is energy, right?
Yeah.
The food we eat gives us energy. So without this food, since we are energy, and the body stores energy typically in three ways. I hope I will not go very deep. If I go deep, please remind me. The body stores energy in three ways. We have glycogen, we have muscle, and we have fat.
That's
Okay.
true.
So why is it important for the body to store energy? The body stores energy just like the way we store food. When you go to the supermarket and you buy lots of food, you put it in the store for future use. You see? So the body, when you give it food, it tends to use what it needs. Then what remains is stored away. We are together up to there.
Yeah, we
And
are.
can be stored away. It is stored away as muscle and some of it as fat and then as glycogen. Glycogen is stored in the liver and in the muscles. So this is energy for future. We are together. So we measure this energy in things like calories or kilocalories. So what is a calorie? A calorie is the amount of energy that can warm 1 kg of water to 1 centigrade, 1 degree centigrade.
Yeah, we are with you.
We are together there. So if you
Yeah,
can warm water from 1 kg of water from 0 to 1 degree centigrade, it means you've used 1 calorie. So when you are consuming food, these foods have energy, and this energy is measured in calories. So since the body needs calories to run its functions, things like now we are speaking here, we are breathing, we are doing things. When we're doing things, the body is going to use energy to do those things. So to avoid the body, to avoid the body from eating itself, because if I do not eat anything, the body is going to use the stored energy, and this is muscle and fat and the glycogen. To avoid that from happening, we give it external food.
that's true.
We're together.
Yeah,
And
with
this
you.
food comes in energy in forms of, we can track this food, we can measure those energy in food in calories. So we eat that food, the body will stop, will it's like, okay, let me give another example so that it can make sense. Imagine a lion. You have a lion in your house, okay? And this lion wants to eat you. So that it does not eat you, you give it meat. It eats that meat. Then it stays there. Then after some time, it feels hunger again. Then it tries to eat you again. Then you give it some meat. Then it leaves you alone. That's how the body functions. We have something called a deficit or an energy deficit. We can imagine this energy deficit as a lion that wants to eat us. Our body wants to eat itself, and that's what we call a deficit. Now, if we do not give this deficit some food, this deficit is going to eat ourselves. It's going to eat the body. The body is going to eat itself. That's why when you go to some parts of the world where there is no food, like some parts of Kenya in North Turkana, we have people there who are very small and they are starving. Why? They're not getting food. So what is the body doing? The body is eating itself. And that's why, like that lion, you're giving it food so that it does not attack you. We do the same thing with our body. We give our body food, which is which is measured in calories, for it to not eat itself. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, it does make sense because
Mm.
if you I remember like growing up,
Yeah.
our fathers, our grandfathers, mothers, they used to grow crops, and after harvesting they would have some that they would store like in the granary. They would
Yes.
have
Yes.
some that would actually eat, and
Yes.
when the ones we have closer to us, when it gets done, then we go to the granary and get that. And that's the
Yes.
same thing for the body. We were giving
Yes.
it something to eat, so if that something to eat is not available, it will try to look for it somewhere else.
Mm.
However, it seems like every time you eat, your body prepares for the future as well, because it's not sure if you're going to eat for the next time, and that's why I think it stores all this energy elsewhere. So the body's granary would think maybe the glycogen, the muscle,
The
and the
muscles
fat.
and the fat. Yes.
So that in times of starvation, it knows where to get food, because if you don't
Mm.
eat tomorrow, it doesn't mean that you're going to die. Your body already prepared for that. Hence,
Mm.
the fast stores that we have. However, I think the problem is we never give our chance. I mean, we never give the bodies the chance to look for food because we are ever giving it food.
Yeah. Actually, I can say something about that. Like you've said, it's like you that word. Repeat the word for me. The granary, right?
Granary.
Okay. Let me use the word store. Let me just say store. Let us imagine that as a store. Um, the body, like you said, it prepares for the future. So when you give it more energy that it needs, it's going to use what it needs. Then it's going to store the other way for tomorrow because it does not know. We've been here for thousands of years. And in the past, we had no food. People used to struggle to get food. You see,
That's
so
true.
the body has been hardwired to always survive, and it survives by storing energy for the future. You see, and that's why now there's another thing which is important here that the audience can benefit the audience. When you give your body excess energy, it also has to think and make a decision. Should I store this energy as fat or as muscle? The body needs to make a decision. And in most cases, it decides to store that energy as fat. Do you know why? I think you know why, but maybe your audience can learn this.
Exactly.
Fat is a more reliable source of energy than muscle.
It's true.
You see, a cell of fat does not hold a lot of water. So it means one cell of fat has a lot of energy because almost everything in that cell is fat. A cell of protein, which is muscle, also contains a lot of water.
That's
So
true.
it means yes, there's energy inside there because there's the protein and the muscles, but some part of it is water. So when you ask the body,
Almost
bet-
70% of it.
yeah, I don't know I don't have the numbers now, but that is the idea. So the body has to decide: should I store energy as fat or as muscle? And in most cases, it decides to store energy as fat. Why? There's another reason. 1 gram of fat contains about 9 calories, the measurement unit we talked about of energy, calories. And a gram of muscle is protein, stores about 4 grams of calories. So as a body, let me ask you, if you have a store and you have a choice, the same amount of store, one can store more food than the other one. Which one would you choose?
I would
The
choose
one
a store
that
that can store more.
stores more.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons why we are getting fatter, because the body wants to store more energy in a given space. And storing fat makes more sense than storing muscle.
Okay. So, and that brings me to now the mechanisms of
Okay.
one, the people there's mechanisms of course of fat gain and obesity, and there's this carbohydrate insulin model of getting fat and getting overweight. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it is true. When the doctors talk about insulin, and first of all, I'm not a doctor, so I am not qualified to give any health advice. But when you talk about things like insulin, when they talk about, they tell us to avoid some foods. When you look at it, they are right. You see, but it's just a small thing. Let me explain so that you can get what I'm saying. The doctors will tell us to avoid having carbohydrates because they will spike the insulin. Insulin is a hormone. It's a hormone. It's a storage hormone. So when you consume carbohydrates, they are converted into glucose. Some of it is converted into glycogen, a substance that is stored in the liver and the muscles for the future. Then, okay, the one stored in the muscles is used for working out, and the one stored in the liver is used by the central nervous system and the brain. Now, the other one is converted into glucose, and your cells use glucose as energy. So they need that glucose, and the glucose is released into the bloodstream. Now, when the body senses that we have some glucose in the bloodstream, the liver is going to produce insulin. This insulin will go to the cells and it will open the cells so that the glucose goes inside and gets used by these cells. So when these doctors are telling us not to eat these carbohydrates and these refined foods, that's what they are saying. They are saying that when you eat these foods, you're going to release insulin into the bloodstream, and the insulin is going to open the cells so that they can take up this glucose. And like we said, even fat is stored this way because that excess energy will be turned into fat. And this is why they are telling us not to eat carbohydrates. But there's something they're not looking at. It is true. These things like carbohydrates and insulin, all those stories, they are going to contribute to us getting fat because it's been stored, right?
That's true.
But remember, you and I talk about energy deficit or caloric deficit or energy balance. Like we've said, if you want to lose fat or weight, make sure you're consuming fewer calories than your body is using. Or you might consume the same amount of calories you're used to consuming, but be more active. So the body will be forced to go to those stores and take energy from there. So even if insulin has come together with that glucose and they have stored energy in the cells, it doesn't matter by the end of the day. As long as you are in a negative energy balance, the same body is going to take that stored energy and use it again. I don't know if this is making sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it does make sense.
the idea that carbohydrates and insulin, when they say those things, they are not wrong. They are very correct. The problem is they are short-sighted. They are not aware that you already have a negative energy. You're already in a negative energy balance. And this means even if that energy will be stored in those cells, it will still be taken out because the body needs it, because you are running in a deficit.
Wow, that's interesting. Of course, me coming from that side, the medical
Oh, you're a
side,
doctor, so you understand.
I just didn't want to be biased, and that's why I just wanted this to be heard from someone else, not just me. But at
Yeah,
the
who
end
is
of
not
the
an
day,
ex?
yeah. So at the end of the day, insulin does matter, but not what matters. I think the overall picture is total amount of
The,
energy that you're consuming.
yes,
That's
yes.
what matters most. Because we've seen some people are actually eating high carb diets and they are able to still lose weight.
Like me, I eat more carbs. Like about almost 40 to 60% of my food comes from carbohydrates, because I understand they are important. They are very
Absolutely.
important. I don't know why people are trying to say they are not good. Carbohydrates are very good. You just need to be smart about it. You
Okay,
cannot be careless.
now let's dive into what our viewer wants to hear, and
Okay.
how can they get started to lose weight? What do
Okay.
they need to focus on right now?
Mm.
Someone is a client, has approached you. My goal is to lose weight and also lose some fat as well.
Okay. So when a client approaches me, I don't like giving them tips and tricks. Of course, I give them tips and tricks, but I try to avoid that, because that's what the other coaches are doing. Some gimmicks here, fast, do this and this. No, me, I want the client to understand the basics of things like nutrition and the basics of a good physique. So when a client comes to me, I am not just trying to move them from point A to point B. I also want to educate them. I want them to understand the basics. And actually, we talked about the basics here. When someone comes to me, first of all, I want them to understand about energy balance. So, like, what is a calorie? What do calories do? That is the first thing. Then I will help this client create a negative energy balance. Of course, there are many ways of doing it. We have more accurate ways, and we have some ways which are not accurate. Like the one I'm using, I know it's not accurate, but it works. So,
Yes,
like,
so
let's say,
even before we dive into the details, how does the
mm,
body expend calories? Because someone wants to know, okay, yes, I need to be in an energy deficit, but then how does my body expend calories or expend energy? Some people they don't know, I'm sure.
yeah, we have like 5 ways that the body uses energy. So we have the first one is called metabolic rate. Metabolic rate is just what your body, just you existing, like now you're sitting there and I'm sitting here. We are breathing. Our systems are working. Digestion is going, it's happening. Breathing system is working. Every system is working. When you're sleeping, those things are still happening. The body is repairing itself, and so anytime you're alive, you're burning calories, because the body needs to run its basic functions, and this is what they call metabolic rate. Then we have another one called you have ambushed me. The other one is called what is the other one? We have
Neat,
metabolic rate. Yes,
neat,
yes, we have metabolic rate, and we have NEAT. NEAT means non-exercise that word, help me.
non non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
That one. Thank you. Now that one is that one happens. Now, okay, depends with people. Some people have higher NEAT than others, but basically, what that means is the activities you do that you're not conscious of. Like they are not an exercise. You see, like walking around. It's not an exercise, but you walk around, so you're burning energy. You will see people humming, others are whistling, others are even dancing sometimes. When you're just doing it, you're not doing it for exercise.
Agitational.
Mm. Like tapping the foot on the floor, those things, they also burn energy. You understand that, eh?
I understand.
So we have metabolic rate, we have NEAT, then we have another one. The next one is exercise.
Yeah,
The
exercise
word
activity thermogenesis as well.
activity. The last one,
Thermogenesis.
the last letter is what gives me problem pronouncing it. So
Yeah,
exercise, activity. The last word, help me.
thermogenesis.
Thank you. That one. Now this one, it's when you are active, and when you work out in the gym, you are being active and you are being deliberate about it. When you go jogging around and running or dancing or doing Zumba, but you're doing it deliberately. Now this is part of it. So also that one burns energy.
Absolutely. And your heart
Uh,
rate is over the roof. Your
mm, so
food.
you
Uh, Basically, you're doing some activity level that is intentional.
that is intentional. After that one, we have the next one, and the next one is a thermic effect of food. Thermic effect of food, and this one is, when you consume food, it's not just stored; it is digested. Then even storing that food takes effort. Like we were talking about your grandparents using a storehouse where they harvest and store things there. The food that doesn't just go from the farm to the store. There's some work involved, getting the food, and doing all those things. So this is called demic effect of food, and this is why also these scientists, these are doctors. I'm sorry for saying this. That's why they are saying we should not consume fat. Some of them, we should not consume fats and carbohydrates, and we should consume more protein. Which, when
Because
you look
protein
at
has
the argument,
because high protein has high thermic effect of food.
yeah, when you look at the argument, they are making sense. It's true.
Yeah, that's
Things
true.
like protein. Give me a moment. I think we are good.
Yeah, we're good.
You can see me, right?
Yeah,
Things like protein take more energy to be digested and stored. It can take anywhere from 15% to 30%. So that means if I consume 100% of protein, 100 grams of protein, almost 15 to 30% of it will be used in digesting the same protein.
same protein.
For carbohydrates, it ranges. It can be anywhere between
Maybe 10 to
somewhere
15.
between, yes,
Maybe 10 to 15.
yeah, or even 5 to 15. It depends on which carbohydrates you have in. So
If
that
it is
one is low.
if it is a high glycemic one or it is low glycemic one.
Yeah, it's true. Then we have the fats. Fats sometimes they don't even take any energy. It's between 0 to around 2. So when you take fat, it can just be stored immediately. So we have this thermic effect of food. So the first one was metabolic rate. The second one was NEAT. Then we had heat. Then now we have thermic effect of food.
Yeah.
Then after that, we have a caloric deficit. This is where you decide to give your body less energy than it needs to run its function. So you give it less energy to do metabolic rate, you give it less energy to do NEAT, heat, and thermic effect. So like, for example, let's say the body needs to use about 2,000 calories to do all these things. But you decide to give it 1,800 calories. That means you put your body in a deficit of 200 calories. Now, since it's in a deficit, it needs to look for another source to get these 200 calories that you've denied it. And this is what we are talking about here.
Oh, thank you for that insight.
Mm.
Now, I know it's easy for us to come here and say, okay, to lose weight or fat, you must be in a caloric deficit. But creating a caloric deficit is also another thing.
Yeah.
So how does one make sure that they actually get into a caloric deficit? Because we can just talk about it, but then implementing that can be a little bit tricky.
Mm. So there are many ways of doing it. So I'm going to give you the one I use, but I will not tell you it's accurate. But I will also tell you that you don't need to be accurate. You just need a number. So I like working with numbers because numbers do not lie. When you follow data, you'll get anything you want. So for someone to be in a negative energy balance or to have a caloric deficit, this is what I tell people to do. This is what I do. We assume that we are going to assume that 1 kg of your body uses about 30 calories, or 31 calories, or 32 calories, or 33 calories, depending on how busy you are. So if you are very active, you play football, and maybe you're a salesperson, or you do manual work, then we are going to assume that you're going to burn a lot of energy because you are very active. So we are going to take your kg, your weight in kg, and we are going to multiply it by 33. This means we are assuming that 1 kg of your body burns about 33 calories. So the number that will give us is what we call your maintenance calories. Remember, we're estimating. We're not exactly correct, but we don't need to be correct. If someone is sedentary, they are not active, they spend most of their time sitting down and they don't play sports, then we are going to assume that their body uses less amount of energy compared to the one who is busy. So if you're not active at all, we are going to assume that your a kg of your body consumes about 30 calories. So we'll take your weight in kg and we are going to multiply it by 30. The number we are going to get, we are going to call that your maintenance calories. That means maintenance calories means if you consume those amount of calories every day, you're going to remain the same. Nothing is going to change. You will not get fatter or thinner. You will be the same.
Wow. So after someone, okay, now you've calculated for someone, you know they need to eat, let's say, 2,000 calories to be able to lose weight. Now, what are those things they should focus on now to actually make sure that they are eating the 2,000 calories?
Oh, okay. Now we have talked about maintenance. So we have estimated what they need to stay the same. Okay. Now this is just one way. There are other ways which are more accurate, but they take more time. And I think in future streams we can talk about them. But since we are just starting, let's continue with this one. Now with this one,
do you think these online calorie calculator do work?
Yes, they can work. They can work because remember, like we've said, we don't need to be accurate. It's just like the ruler. You know just like the one. What is this ruler? This long ruler. It's 1 meter ruler.
Yeah, it's 1 meter.
It's an estimation. That ruler is not accurate 100%, but we use it, right?
We do use it.
Even a kg. When you take 2 kgs and you go very deep into 0. You know those small units, you're going to discover
micrograms, nanograms, then to grams, then to kg.
Yeah, there's no item in the world that is 100% accurate. So those online calculators, they can work. They do work. They can work for you. The thing is, people want to take those calculators and then they want to just believe those calculators. There are some other things you need to do, and I think those are the things we're going to be talking about here.
Exactly. Now, those are the things that I want us to talk about now.
Because those things that we're going to talk about are even more important than what we're talking about now.
Okay, let's dive straight into those things.
Okay. Now, you have discovered your maintenance calories. The next step should be to create a negative energy balance. So we have decided, let's say, for example, we have done that calculation, and we have discovered you need 2,000 calories for you to stay the way you are. Now, our next goal is to create a negative energy balance. Now, you can play with it any number. This is the number that I use, the number that the guy that I learned these things from, Radu Antonio, uses. And so you need the negative energy balance that you're going to create needs to be a medium one. Don't create a big one. Sometimes people go into a caloric deficit and they go into a very big caloric deficit and they lose weight very fast. And this is not good. When you lose weight very
fast to starvation.
Yeah, when you lose weight very fast, most of what you're going to lose will be muscle. You remember the body prefers storing fat than muscle.
That's true.
So when you deny it food completely, it will make a decision. Are we going to lose what we like more or what we don't like more? Remember, a muscle is not an asset. It's a liability to the body.
Yeah, because naturally your body wants to preserve where it can store more energy.
Yeah, more energy.
It's going to hold on to the fat a little bit more and then make you lose the muscle.
The muscle, because the muscle is a liability, because maintaining the muscle.
Yes, because your body cannot quickly get energy from it. For example, the biochemical processes and physiological
very long.
It
has to go to the liver. It has to be turned into glucose. A lot of process. And another thing, that muscle, it's harder to maintain. It's like having a pickup and a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini is too hard to maintain. You need to, do too many things with it.
Exactly.
So the body prefers fat because you don't need to do a lot of work. Maintaining fat is easy. Maintaining muscle is not easy.
It's very hard.
It eats a lot of food.
You need stress, you need to give it more protein, you need, it's a lot of things.
You remember the metabolic rate?
I know.
The more muscle we have, the higher the metabolic rate. So it means that muscle is using a lot of energy. Okay, so when you are in that deficit, so creating a very big deficit is a bad idea because now the body is going to sacrifice the muscle. This is what I do. This is what Radu does. This is what I tell my friends and clients to do. Create a small one, which is anywhere between 20. Okay, I give them two numbers, 20% or 25%, depending on your goal. Me, I prefer 20% because I would rather lose it slowly, but in an enjoyable way. The guys who do crash diets, they will lose it. Of course, some of them will maintain muscle, but it's not enjoyable. It's torture. It's hell. For me, I want to look lean forever. That means I must enjoy it. So this is what you do. Let's assume you've chosen 20%. You'll just take those maintenance calories we found and you multiply them by 0.8. The number you're going to get is the amount of calories you need to be consuming daily for you to be in a deficit, a 20% deficit.
Wow.
After that, now it's when you go, we go back and we start talking about the macronutrients, the proteins, the carbohydrates, and the fats. And these are the things now. So the first thing that influences how you're going to look is that energy balance that we've just done now. If your energy balance, it controls everything. If you're consuming too much, you get fat. If you're consuming the same amount as your body uses, you remain the same. If you're consuming less than your body needs, you get smaller. That is the first thing. The second thing that influences how you're going to look is the macronutrients. The amount of protein you consume is going to determine how you're going to look. The carbohydrates, the fats, those ones, they are very important to how you're going to look. And since protein is the primary one for muscle development and muscle maintenance, is the one we set first. So should we set protein?
So basically, you have to form your meals around protein before anything else.
Yes, it has to be. Each one plays a different role. Like if you are an athlete and you want to compete on the stage, then you can only think about protein. But for people like us who lift for lifestyle purposes, we cannot only think of protein. We have to think of all of them. And each one of them plays a very important role. Maybe I can just give a summary.
Okay, let's just start with protein.
Okay. Protein, protein, what it does. It repairs the muscles, it maintains those muscles, and it grows new muscle. It has those amino acids that are the building blocks.
Those who are watching, I'll go just see you. What it's trying to say is our tissues are made of protein, our hair, our nails, made of protein.
Yeah.
That's what it's trying to say.
So it maintains everything. Very important. Carbohydrates, they are also very important, especially for people like us, people who live to it. Why? Remember, okay, this is a bit deep. We'll talk about it in another stream.
That's true.
But for the body to keep on, like we said, the protein is a liability. The body wants to get rid of it. To convince the body to maintain the protein, we need to use the protein. And this is why we work out. And the more effective we are at working out, the more we are able to maintain the protein. And carbohydrates helps in this regard. Because it's the basic and the most preferred source of energy for the body. Of course, the body can use protein and fats for energy, but it prefers carbohydrates.
So when glucose is available, your body can never break down fats to get energy from when glucose is available.
Yes, Yes, that is true. But remember, we are in a deficit,
Yes.
but we are working out. So this glucose will be used by the body, by the central. It will be used. Then the one that is stored as glycogen will also be used, because some of it will be used. The one in the liver will be used by the central nervous system and the brain. Then the one in the muscles will be used when you work out. Then when you work out, it has been depleted. The body needs to
Replenish.
replenish it. So that's why when you eat another carbohydrate, it gets it replenished. And your body prefers carbohydrates and the others for energy. This is why we need it. It's very important for people who work out. It will improve your performance, and the better you perform, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the more your body needs to keep those muscles. Then we have fats. These ones are also very important because they play, when you compare fats to the other macronutrients, they play a very important role in terms of your health. Things like hormones. Most hormones use fats as their main raw material. So for the body to produce these hormones, it needs fats, and that's why fats are very important. So for people like us who are just training for lifestyle purposes, we cannot play around with any of those macronutrients. We need them, all of them.
That's true.
But since our primary goal is muscle, then protein is number one. And this is how I do it. This is how I think this is how you do it too.
Absolutely.
So for the average person, they need about 3 grams of protein per. I mean, no. I think I'm going to mislead you about this one. So let me not talk about the average person. But
Yeah,
for someone like
so there's something we call RDA. We call it recommended dietary allowance that
yes, that one.
one person needs, and it's always around 0.8, maybe to 1 gram. But of course, when it comes to people like us who work out, we need a little bit more to be able to fuel our muscles, and of course build more muscle, and of course maintain the muscle. But an average person who does nothing, I think 0.8 per kilogram, maybe even per pound, might be enough for them. But
Yeah,
you'll find
actually,
between 0.6 maybe to 1.2 per kilogram of body weight.
yeah. Now for us, people work out because we need that protein. Anywhere between 1.6 to 2.2 per kg. The ones using pounds can do the 0.8 to around 1 gram, like you said, per pound. Okay, this is the thing. You can consume more protein if you want, but there's a level where you get to where that extra protein does not play any important role. And
we call
remember,
that diminishing returns.
yeah, it becomes useless. And remember, the other macronutrients are also important, so we cannot sacrifice them. So that's why I and people who want to work out for lifestyle purposes, we use protein. We use the minimum amount of protein we need. Of course, we can use more, but we just go for the minimum. And the minimum is that 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kg. When you're cutting, you need more. So when you're losing fat, you want to cut. There's cutting and bulking and all those things. When you're cutting, aim for 2. Of course, we're in Africa. I don't think we can really get the amount we need, but try to aim for 2
If
2
you
grams
can.
per kg, if you can. When you're bulking, you don't need a lot of protein because you have leverage. You have lots of calories in the body, lots of accessible energy to use. So when you are bulking, just go for 1.6. That's enough. You can go higher, but there is no extra benefit. So for example, let's assume someone weighs 60 kg. For you to find out how many proteins you need for you to build muscle and work out and all those things. And let's assume we are in Africa, so let's assume protein is hard to access. Just go for 1.6. So 6 grams, 6 kg of 6 kg of your body weight, you multiply by 1.6. If you are able, try to go for 2. So
Okay, now
60 kg.
about that a second. So
Mm,
let's assume I'm 60 kilograms or 70, but
mm.
then my fat body percentage is around 30 or 25 kilograms. So should we just take it as the whole body weight, or should we just focus on the lean tissues so that someone calculates according to their lean
Or to their
um
level, yeah.
to the,
So the
how
one
to
I've been talking,
they have
the one I've been talking about is for the average person.
for the average person.
The 1.6 to 2.2, and anywhere in between. It can be 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2,
So
2.1,
um
2.2,
and,
any.
and that's why I'm asking that is, let's say someone weighs 120 kilograms. The biggest part of the biggest part of their composition comes from fat.
Fat, yeah.
Um, hello, are you still there?
Yeah, I think I'm losing you
Yes.
too.
No, I'm back. You can see me now.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back too.
Yes. So the biggest
So
part of their body composition is basically fat. So should they rely on the 120 kilograms multiplied by 1.6 and get the total
no,
protein they should consume, or there's another way they can go about that?
there's another way. There's another way. There are many ways of doing it. More others are more accurate than others, but me, I prefer the simple ones. So the one we've been talking about is for the average person. Anyone someone who is in between 10% body fat to around 20. But anyone above there, I would advise them to use another method. And this method is where you take your height in centimeters. So
Also,
you
if
find
someone
your
is 60 centimeters, they just multiply that by 1.6 and get their protein
no no
requirement.
no. What they do is like, for example, like me, I am a short guy. I am 160. I am 168 centimeters long. If I was overweight and I was maybe 150 kg, then that's a lot. No, I'm sorry. I think I've. Let me go back. Instead of using your weight, just use your height. So
Your height.
you take your weight in centimeters. Those centimeters are the amount of
Protein you need to
you
consume.
need. So
Wow.
if you're 150, 160 tall, then you need 160, about 160.
Wow. That's
You don't need to hit exactly 160. You can be anywhere between 150 to 160. But
160.
use your height. Do not use your weight if you're overweight.
Okay. Now, the mistake that I see most people doing is when they come, most of your clients, when they come, they want to focus more on the exercise rather than the diet, because it seems they find it hard to focus on their diet versus going to the gym. I don't know if you've encountered that before.
Yeah, that's what happens.
So do
I
you
think
think do you think exercise has a place when it comes to fat loss or weight loss?
yes, it has a place, but not the way we do it. You know, because we are human beings, we have this nature of wanting things fast. And sometimes we confuse movement for achievement. Just because I'm doing things, I think I'm progressing, but I'm not progressing. And this is how we are as human beings. And like we know, most of these coaches, they just want to keep their clients busy
And
because they
also
think that's what works. But now, you remember we talked about the most important things. We said the first one is the energy balance. The second one is those macronutrients. In the same group with macronutrients, I would put exercises. But I'm not talking about these exercises. The main goal of these exercises is not to burn fat. We're using these exercises to grow muscle. So we're using diet for you. We are putting you in a caloric deficit using diet so that we can start losing weight. You know, but remember, losing weight does not mean your body is going to improve. Like we've
That's
said, your body is ready and willing to sacrifice muscle. So to maintain this muscle or to grow this muscle, we need another reason for this body to do it. And the main initiator of muscle growth is working out, training.
now that's where we come.
So,
So
mm,
when we reach on exercise, and I feel that's where most people now get confused.
mm.
What exercise should someone focus on if their main goal is to actually lose fat and, of course, look good? Not like you're going to lose fat and then lose all the muscle mass. What are they going to focus on? Because we know there are a variety of workouts, exercises out there.
This is going to be very controversial. And I think some people who are not following you or they are new to this thing, they'll be very confused by what I'm going to say. If you want to lose weight, no. I mean, if you want to lose fat, only focus on getting stronger. But not just getting stronger like the power lifters. No. When I say getting stronger, I'm talking about those workouts that take a lot of that involve lots of muscles. I know you're asking this question because when people are trying to lose weight, they do cardio, they do Zumba,
Aerobics.
aerobics, they dance, and they do all those things. That is nonsense.
Wow.
If you want to lose fat, you see the workouts you do, the squats, the deadlifts. And what I mean is train for strength. Don't train for cardio or for endurance. You can train for hypertrophy or strength. Those two are going to help you because we are not working out to lose fat. We are working out to grow muscle. The fat side has been handled by the diet. So let the diet make you lose weight. Let the exercises make you grow muscle and maintain muscle. So as you're losing weight, the muscles are growing. And this is what is going to make you look good because the composition of muscle goes higher and the one for fat goes low. Why is the one for fat coming low? Because you're consuming fewer calories. You're in a deficit through diet. Where are the muscles getting bigger? Or where are the, like, for example, let's say you're here. This is the muscle, this is the fat. A deficit will make this one go low. But if you're not working out, they'll go both and you look bad.
Wow.
If you start working out, you may maintain the muscle and lose this. You see? Or for some people, you can gain muscle. So you grow muscle and you lose fat. Then you look better. So do not work out to lose fat. No. Because even working out, you lose very few, you burn very few calories when you work out.
So most people overestimate how many calories they burn in a
Very,
workout.
yeah, it's very little. The only way to
So,
burn lots of calories through working out is cardio. But even that one burns very few.
okay, I want you to talk to most ladies because ladies, most of them, they're insecure when it comes to resistance training or training for hypertrophy and strength. Most of them, they want to rely on cardio, and aerobics and Zumba and etc. So talk to them and tell them why they actually need to lift weights because I know most ladies they don't want to lift weights.
Yes. Ladies, please ditch those Zumba. I'm not saying you should not do them. If you like them, do them.
For fun
But
and
if you
also
like them,
heart function or lung function.
but if you want to like for me, I don't care about conditioning. I have a very bad conditioning. I cannot run. Do you know that I cannot run? I'm lazy. I don't like running. Why? I don't care about conditioning. If that lady cares about conditioning, then let them do it. Let them dance for fun. Let them do Zumba if they enjoy it. But if you do not like it, you don't need to do it. There's people think men and women are different. Yes, we are different, but those differences are very small. We're actually more similar than we are different. The reason why women appear smaller than men is because they start with less muscle. The reason why women cannot lift as heavy as men is because they start with less muscle. But if they are able to develop those muscles, they can lift as heavy as men. Another thing is, ladies think that if they train with heavyweights, they are going to look like men. That is not true. You are a lady, you're not a man.
No differences.
You are a lady, you will never look like a man because you have a structure of a lady.
There's
So
a
me, I
reason
tell
why
you,
there's a reason why you are a lady, not a
yes,
man.
you're a lady. You're not a man.
So, and that one, of course, your hormones come in, your testosterone. Wow. I've lost my guest. I hope he's able to come back, guys, and we continue the conversation. But Big Steve, thanks so much for joining. MC Gorgeous, thanks so much for joining. You guys, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section so that we can have them answered if my guest comes back. But otherwise, hope you guys you're doing great. Hope this interview is educational to you. Hope you're learning something. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to put them straight to my guest. I think maybe he has connection issues. Perhaps he'll be back. But if you have some questions as well, you can let me know and I answer some of them straight away from here. But otherwise, guys, how have you been? Like what has been emphasizing is women, it doesn't matter. Even if you train like how, you're not going to have these biceps because you're a woman, you have a lot of estrogen, I have a lot of testosterone. My testosterone is responsible for how I look, and your estrogen is responsible for how you look. So unless you get some exogenous hormones like steroids or something that's going to improve your testosterone, there you can train and have bigger biceps, have bigger triceps, just like a man, because you're altering your hormones or you're improving the testosterone. So it's not like women do not have testosterone, they actually do have testosterone, but then the ratio of testosterone and estrogen is higher than the testosterone. So that's why you can't look like me. And for men, your my testosterone is higher than the estrogen. That's why a man, I can't look like a woman. That's why I have a deep voice. That's why I have beards. We basically different. So my guest is back. Let's start where we stopped. Yes, welcome back, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my bundles were finished, but I've got new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about ladies.
Yes, we're talking about ladies and the myth about training.
Yeah, ladies should train like men. Of course, we have some minor differences, very minor, but overall, everything should be the same. Maybe I can talk about the differences.
Yeah, maybe talk about the difference, especially when it comes to storing fat and building muscle.
Okay. Ladies tend to store muscles around their thighs, their lower body, and around their breasts.
Store
For
fat
men,
around the lower body and the breasts.
for men, we tend to store around the waist. But even what we see is not the dangerous fat. We have the visceral fat, which is inside, on top of the organs. That's the most dangerous one. And that's what men, I think, through evolution, men developed this kind of this physiology because we used to fight, hunt. So that fat was a protective layer to the internal organs. For women, because of various reasons of evolution, things like bearing children, mate selection, that's why they are programmed the way they are. But
Basically,
even that is not.
They are made the way they are because of reproduction.
Yeah, because that's what we do. That's what we are. We are here to survive and to reproduce.
Yeah,
That's the main goal of.
I can imagine because when a woman gets pregnant, they are basically two, and she needs to feed the baby. So when you don't eat, doesn't mean that the baby won't eat. Your body knows that this baby needs food, and the body has to burn more fat to make sure that the baby gets food. And hence, that's why I think women have the highest body percentages compared to men, just for the instance of reproduction.
For that extra, yeah. And by default, they start with higher body fat percentage and low muscle mass. For men, by default, we start with lower body fat percentage and more muscle. and that's why we are able to work out. We are able to lift more weights than them. That's why we are able to grow more muscle. Also hormones and other things, but those are a bit deeper. Now, when we come to working out, there are some differences. Like the workout, the style I recommend is going heavy, but in a medium rep range. That is anywhere between 4 to 12 reps for compound movements. Why? Because I am able to go heavy and my body is able to recruit these muscle units. For women, it's a bit different. Since they do not have as much muscle as we do, they cannot lift as heavy as we do. And as a result, they do not get as tired as we do. That's why a man can do lower reps, like a man can do fewer reps. A woman should do higher reps. Why? She's able to handle more work. Why? I mean, she's able to handle more work because she's not exerting herself like I am. So when you come up with a program for women, lift like men, but you should be able to do more volume than men because your body is not the amount of work you're doing for the body. It's not a lot like the one men are doing. That's why men need to do need to do less work than women, but more intense. That is one of the things. Like for example, if we are doing squats, I might train within the 4 to 6 rep ranges because I want strength in that medium rep range. For a girl, I will, when I'm making a program for a girl, I might put her between 6 and 8, or even 6 and 10, or 8 and 10, a bit higher rep range. So we are doing the same workout, we are working the same way. My weight is the weights I'm lifting are a bit heavier because I'm a guy. She's a girl, she's lifting the same way like me. The weights she's using are smaller, but she's able to do more reps. Why? She will recover fast because the amount of stress she's putting to her body is not as much as the one I do. So they can do higher rep ranges compared to men. That is number one. Number two, when you rest, men need longer time to rest. I might do very heavy deadlifts and I spend like 5 minutes recovering from that set. A girl is ready within 2 minutes. She's ready. The reasons are the same reasons. The central nervous system for them is not tired. Why? She does not have many muscles or big muscles to lift very heavy, because if she lifts very heavy, she will get as tired as me, but she's not able to do that. So she'll be ready. She will be ready. Within some few minutes, she's ready to go back. So when you program for women, they can spend less time to do more work compared to men. Another thing is, most of the muscles that men tend to grow are on the upper body, the shoulders, the back, the chest, the lower back, they are on top of the body. For women, most of the muscles they need to grow for them to look great, they are in the lower body, because we're not exactly the same in that area. For men, we're looking for that V taper. We want broad shoulders, we want a wide back, and we want a square chest and a slim waist. That's what makes a man attractive. For women, for them, they want for us is the shoulders to the waist ratio. For women is the waist to the hip ratio. So they need to have a smaller waist but wider hips, but not very wide as people think. It just need to be a bit wider, and that's why they need to focus more on the lower body.
Lower body. Okay.
Another difference.
Okay.
Yes?
Before that, okay, someone has started their fat loss journey or weight loss journey. What are those indicators to show that they are actually losing weight?
Yes, this is very important. This is very important. Remember, I said we don't need to be very accurate with our calories. The reason why I said that is because we will be tracking our progress. We have many indicators to look at. Number one is the mirror. The mirror will tell you. Or sometimes you may not even notice it when you look at the mirror, but pictures do. If you take weekly pictures, You may think you look the same, but when you look 3 weeks back, you notice you look different. So that's one of the ways you can use. So we have mirrors and we have pictures. But the one that I love using, the one that I think is the best, is the waist measurement. When someone starts losing weight or fat, the waist measurement becomes smaller. Their waist becomes narrower. When they start gaining fat, their waist measurement becomes, their waist starts to get wider. So this is what I do. Um, I have a tape measure. This is very important because I track my waist. So there's a certain level where I do not want to cross, because that means I'm getting too fat. So these are some of the things you can use. Another one is the weighing scale. But the weighing scale is not, you cannot trust it as much as the tape measure, because the body will always change. For example, let me explain why I'm saying this. You might think, for example, you may be in a deficit, but your weight is reading the same, and you think you're not losing fat, but in actually, maybe you're losing fat and you're gaining muscle at the same rate. So you might be
And
losing
muscle
1 kg.
fat.
Yes.
And muscle is denser than fat.
Yeah. So you look smaller, but the weight scale is not changing. So that means you might be gaining muscle very fast and losing weight at the same time. Then you think, what's happening? I'm not seeing results. Then you create another deficit, which is a bad thing. So I'm not saying we should not weigh ourselves. Please, let's weigh ourselves. But this one will never lie to you. You keep on taking measurements with the tape measure, and it's very cheap. You don't need to spend lots of money on it. That one will tell you whether you are losing weight, losing fat, or gaining weight. Whether you're losing fat or gaining fat. There are others, but these are the most accessible ones for the average person.
I'm sure you've gotten some clients who have come to you and have said, hey, I want to lose belly fat. Hey, I want to lose upper arm fat.
Yeah, yes.
What do you talk about? What's your take about spot fat reduction? Because I don't know, some people are not convinced out there. They think they're going to do sit-ups and be able to lose belly fat.
Yeah, that's another misconception that is still around. I don't know why it's still around. There is no such thing as spot reduction. So if you want to lose fat, you're going to lose it everywhere. And ladies need to know this. They need to know they're going to lose it everywhere, even including their hips. And this is why.
And I've had some men who come to me and say, "Oh my God, I want a slim waist, but I want to preserve my
ass,
my hips." So you're like, how are you going
can't.
to do that?
But there's something they're forgetting. They think they will look bad. They will not look bad.
Most of them,
For example,
they actually think they will lose their hips, or their hips are going to become harder because they are lifting weights and become like a stone.
That is not true. Because people think meat is something else. Meat is fat. Meat is muscle. So are you saying you don't want more meat? This is the thing, eh? It is true. You're going to get smaller. That is true. You will get smaller. But that does not mean you look bad. People think being huge is what makes people look attractive. That is not true. You look at movies. Those people who act movies, they're not big. When they wear suits, you not even notice they are big. They are very small, but since they have good muscle development, they are lean. When they remove those shirts, they look amazing. The same thing happens with women. You're going to lose. It's true. You're going to lose fat overall the body. You will get smaller, but it does not mean you're going to lose that figure. And that's why we are talking about working out. Create a diet. Create a caloric deficit through diet, but also work out for strength like men. This is important because the same thing we said, as you lose that fat, you're still building muscle. And things like the butt, the thing they are concerned about, the ass, it contains the biggest muscles in the body. The glutes, these are the biggest muscles in the body.
Yes, Maximus.
Yeah. If you're working on those muscles, they'll get bigger. And those muscles are the ones that are going to maintain the figure that you want. So you'll get smaller, yes, but you'll even look better than someone who is fatter than you. Another thing, let's not fear muscles. Women I've been watching these women who compete on the stage. They do not know that those women are on drugs. The ones who are very big, they look like men. They are
Because
on
they want
drugs, first of all.
to.
Yeah, they're on drugs, first of all. Second, they have crazy genes and they have been training for more than 10 years. And that's why they are that big. But you and I, the lady who is watching this, we are normal people. We do other things. We don't just work out. And this is a lifestyle. You will never get that big. But I assure you, if you work out for strength, and my sister is an example for this. I've been training her. She looks way better now. She's smaller, yes, but she has a better figure now. Why? She's working out those muscles. If you work out those muscles, they have to grow. And since you're in a deficit, you have to lose the fat. So you're going to look better doing this than what you think is going to happen. And the idea of doing crunches, like me, I don't do crunches for what? If I want six pack, I just reduce my body fat percentage. They are going to show. Those
Uh, uh,
crunches, they're not bad,
Someone
but they
will
are
argue that,
useless.
okay, yeah, someone will argue that okay, crunches do not help you lose that very fat, but just like any other muscle, abs are also muscles, and they need to be trained with progressive over so that they can grow bigger. So that when you shred down, you have the six packs to show. How true is that?
That is true. But how many people train the crunches for that reason?
Oh,
They don't train it for that reason.
they train it to lose fat.
Yeah. So do the crunches because they are important. They are going to grow those muscles. That's the reason why you should do the crunches, to grow the muscles, not to lose fat. But most people who are doing crunches, they are thinking they are going to lose fat by doing that. That is not true. When you're doing these exercises, your body recruits fat, mobilizes fat to be used for energy. Let's say you're in a deficit and you do not have glucose in the body, and the glycogen has been used, all of it. Your body needs to recruit fat cells from various parts of the body, and it will be brought there to be burned. So it has been burnt around the stomach area, but it has been mobilized everywhere else. I don't know if I'm making sense here.
Yeah, I'm
Hello?
back. Yeah,
Yes.
there's a technical glitch.
I'm sorry. So what I was saying is, when you work out that area thinking you're going to burn fat around that area, you're wrong. Yes, you're going to burn fat. Actually, you're not even burning fat, you're burning calories. So let's assume all the glucose has been used, all the glycogen stores in the muscles has been used. The one in the liver, you cannot use it because it's reserved for the central nervous system and the brain. So you cannot touch that one. The body will start using fat to fuel that workout, but not in form of fat, in form of calories. Of course, it's the same thing, but let's just use the word calories. This fat will be mobilized from various parts around the body. It might
From
be
your back,
mobilized from my face.
muscles, from your cheeks. Actually, when you start losing weight, you realize that you're losing fat from your face.
Everywhere.
You're getting sunken eyes fast before you even see any difference from your arms and your belly.
Yeah, and also genes. Also, genes play a role. For some people store fat in the right areas. Like I have friends, they are fat, but they don't look fat because they don't store the fat in the stomach area. They might store them in their arms, so they look big, but they are fat. So that is another thing to consider. We are not the same. Some of us are gifted, others are not, but the basics are the same. If you create a negative energy balance, if you plan your macros the right way, these are fats, carbohydrates, and protein. If you plan them the right way, and you work out with heavy weights, you follow a program that focuses on you getting stronger in that medium rep range, and you focus on really pushing yourself to get stronger, you're going to lose fat, you're going to grow muscle if you're a beginner, or you're going to maintain muscle if you're an intermediate. That is how it is. Whether you're a man or a lady, that's how it is.
Okay. Another concern is the gym you train from. I don't know for how long you've been training. Have you been seeing the same faces, or every week you see different faces? And if so, why?
Faces.
I mean, different people enter coming into the gym, train for a week or three, and then after they disappear, then you have new clients coming in.
This thing has been disturbing me for a very long time. I get
Just like
stressed.
that's why I brought it.
I get very stressed because they come with they're motivated. They want to train. They want to train. But when they come there, they find the coaches, and these coaches give them some bullshit workouts. A beginner comes to the gym, and they're given like they do like I don't know like 10 sets of chest workouts. Then they do like back workouts. They work out for like 2 hours. For what? That beginner, they want to grow, so they are there, they are following. But you look at them and you're like, I wish I could help you, but your mind is made up. You're following this guy because he has a good body, but in the real sense, he doesn't know what he's doing, and you're going to quit. I see them quitting all the time, and I feel bad. I don't like it. It pains me when I see people quit the gym.
Okay.
And another thing is, I'm sorry.
Yeah, continue. Go on.
Another thing is, it's very depressing because most overweight people are found in the gym because they come go, come go, come go. So they're always beginners. They never reach the intermediate stage. So they always come. It's too hard for them. They go. It's not because they don't want to. They want to do it, but they are lacking that guidance. Yes, you are saying something.
Someone will also ask you, okay, I've started on this journey. How long will it take me to see results?
Okay, that is a bit deep. First of all, you from going where you are now to your goal physique, that will take time. But I think what should motivate you is seeing changes every day. That is very important. Like now, when I started training my sister, she started seeing changes in it. Of course, she was not getting the body she wanted yet, but she was seeing changes every day. She would do the waist measurements. She notices there's a difference. She would choose the right combination of foods. Then she notices she's not hungry, she's full, and she's not spending lots of money in food. We're using buying food. She realizes that she's very active. She's not getting tired. She's not depressed. You see, so those small changes will happen immediately. The moment you go into a caloric deficit, within 1 week, you'll start seeing some changes. Your social life, those small ones, they will happen. But for your results, no, that one you have to be patient. Like I told you, I started working out in 2015. That means I should be big. Why am I not big? So what happened is in 2017, I came across some network marketing thing that took my time. So I wasted 2 years there. Then I came back in 2019. But from 2019 to 2020, I was not working out. So I became very, very fat. Then from 2020 in May, I started working out again. Now I was still understanding how these things work. So I made lots of mistakes. It took me to go, I went from around 21% body fat to around 10.9. I'm not sure, but somewhere there. It took me 1 year.
Wow.
Mistakes, not track. I did not know how to track all those things. It took that long to get the results I wanted. Then I did a small bulk that took me 5 months. Okay, so this is what so when I started in 2020 when I started that routine, I am a small guy, so I was weighing 59 kg, but my body fat percentage was high, very high, almost 20 something, 21, 22 there. So I went from there all down to 49.5 kg. I know it sounds very weird, but that's what happened. That took me 1 year. From there, I did a bulk that took me 5 months. I went from 49.5 to 56 kg. Then I did another cut that took me 3 months. So I went from 50, I said 55, yeah, 55 kg to around 52 kg, 52.5. Now I looked bigger. So what am I saying? I'm saying it takes a bit of process. Now, okay, this story, I think it will answer the question. Yeah. Then something happened in last year, when was last year? 2022. I got sick with pneumonia around June. So that month I was in hospital. I got very sick and I lost all the gains. I lost all the muscles. I had.
So about that, you got severe pneumonia.
Yes.
You got severe pneumonia.
Okay, they said it was pneumonia, but they were lying. It was COVID.
Oh yeah.
I was not. I could not breathe.
What's COVID?
What's COVID?
I was trying to say that COVID causes pneumonia, and pneumonia can be severe.
Yeah, but I don't know these things. You're the doctor. I don't know them. Now, so after I recovered, so I spent it was from June to July I was in the hospital. Then from July to August I was recovering. Then in August I started working out. The thumbnail you're using for this video, that first photo is that's how I looked after I recovered. Do you know how long it took me to go from there to the second one?
I don't know.
Less than 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
Yeah, so it took about 10 weeks.
Wow, around
and
3
I did
months.
not. Yeah. So what am I saying? Let me just give these people, give our audiences the right expectations. So it takes about 1 year for you to go from beginner to intermediate. Intermediate is where you are able to bench press your weight for like 5 kg, for like 5 reps. You're able to squat 1.25 of your weight. You're able to deadlift about almost twice your weight for 5 reps.
For deadlift.
So like for me, I am already an intermediate as far as strength goes. Because what I did is, after I recovered, I did not go into a surplus. I went into a deficit, and I did that cut for around 10 weeks, and I looked the way I do in that thumbnail. Then from there, that was when I started bulking, the lean bulk, where you don't you create a very small caloric surplus. I am still bulking, and I'm going to end this bulk in August, then do another cut. After I finish that cut, I'm going to look like what movie is this? Have you watched this movie called The Immortals?
Nah, I'm not a movie person.
You don't watch movies. Fight Club, you don't know those ones?
No, I'm not a movie guy.
Okay, don't worry. I think we will do another stream where we're going to show these pictures so that they can understand what we're talking about. But the main idea is for you to go from beginner to intermediate takes about 1 year for the average person. If you have good genes, it will be faster. If you have very bad genes, it might be a bit longer. But for the average person, me and you and the rest, about 1 year. From intermediate to proficient levels, where you look awesome. Yes?
From intermediate to advanced.
No, not advanced. There's another level between advanced and intermediate. It takes about 2 years. There you look great. Like when you are in an intermediate, you don't look great in clothes. You don't look awesome in clothes. But when you remove them, people are like, whoa. So these muscles are there. But when you wear clothes, no one sees them. But now when you reach the proficient levels, you're big and you look awesome in clothes. Then from the proficient level to advanced can take you 3, 5, even sometimes 10 years. And when you get there, it's when you look like a superhero. Very few people in the
Um,
world are going to look like you.
and I didn't want to forget this because like we're talking about caloric deficit, and I always tell my fellow fitness enthusiasts, okay, it's easy to tell someone, okay, you need to be in a caloric deficit to be able to lose weight or fat, but how to get into that caloric deficit matters a lot because me and you, we know that hunger always wins. So
Hunger is dangerous.
how can someone create a caloric deficit without necessarily feeling extremely hungry, without feeling miserable because they are trying to
Yeah,
lose
this
weight?
is this is very important. I learned this from Radu Antonio, and I think you should check that guy. He's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Radu said we have three things we must manage. Number one, we must manage hunger. Number two, we must manage cravings. Number three, we must manage social events. Because if you're hungry, it doesn't matter. You're not going to lose fat. You can't, because you'll be hungry and you'll find yourself eating more than you need. If you have cravings, you'll find yourself binge eating on your sweets and chocolates and your cakes. Social events are okay. Me, I'm not an outgoing person, so that does not apply to me. But for the average person, they have parties, they go to weddings. If you're going to restrict yourself, then you're going to have a very miserable life. Where your friends are having fun, you're not having fun. So this is how I do it, and this is how Radu says you do it, and not just Radu, the other guys who are good at this thing. For you to enjoy your fat loss journey, you need to make sure that about 80 to 90% of your calories, you're there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, about 80 to 90% of your calories are coming from nutrients dense foods. You see what doctors call healthy foods?
Yes.
Those ones. Those ones. Vegetables, um, lean meats, legumes, sweet potatoes. You know those ones, the foods that they call healthy foods. Those ones must take the biggest percentage of your diet. Why? Because they are satiating. They fill you a lot. When you eat them, you don't feel hunger at all. So they give you very few calories, but they fill you up, and they also provide many macronutrients that you need. So this is secret number one. Make sure most of your foods are of those ones, those macro, I mean, those nutrient dense foods. I hope that is making sense. Eh?
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
Yes, yes. So, and I would advise that you prepare most of your foods. Do not be eating out. There's nothing wrong with eating out, but most of your foods, you prepare them by yourself. So, like in Uganda, I was in Uganda. So, what were the most common foods there? Things like cassavas, things like matoke. Do you call them matokes? The bananas.
Yeah,
Bananas,
bananas.
arrowroots. I saw them there. I saw sweet potatoes. I saw, what else did I see there? I saw fish. I saw meat. Those should be the main foods of your diet. This way, you will not feel hungry. They provide the most, they make you get full, they fill you up, but they don't give you many calories. That is number one.
Hence, you're not going to overeat them out.
Yeah, even if you eat too much, yes, you've eaten too much, but the amount of calories are very small. Let me
And
let,
you're not
let me
going
give
to
a
feel
let me Yes.
And you're
Let
never
me.
going to feel hungry faster so that you can
You
overeat.
can't. You can't feel hunger. Let me give some context. Here in Kenya, we have something called ugali. You guys call it posho.
Yeah, you call it push.
I like your diet because Ugandan diet is way better than Kenyan diet, and
Wow.
that's why you people have better physiques compared to us. I don't like how we look because our foods are not as good as yours. Ugali is not as great as people think it is, or
It
posho.
is it's heavily processed.
It's heavily processed, but even maize, you cannot compare maize to things like sweet potatoes or bananas.
That's true.
For example, 100 grams of ugali contains about 300 calories. Do you know how many? And do you know how many 100 grams of sweet potatoes? How many calories that contains?
Maybe like
About seven.
150,
No, no,
maybe
it's even
150.
lower.
It's even
When
lower.
it's not cooked, yeah, it's about 87 calories.
And it's very satiating.
Yeah,
You can't.
so someone eats ugali, for them to feel satisfied, they need to eat about 600 grams. For you to eat sweet potatoes and feel satisfied, you might eat maybe around the same 600 grams of sweet potatoes, but
But
the
300
amount of
calories.
calories you've consumed are 3 times lesser than those of ugali. So those dense foods, those heavy foods, those should occupy 80 to 90% of your diet. That way, you never feel hunger. And this is what I did with my sister.
Wow.
It
So
got to a point where
yeah, so I mean we can fitness it's so big we can spend the entire night here trying to talk. But then there's one last thing I want to just talk about before we end this live stream, and that's about supplements. Supplement industry I think has been growing like 4% each year across the globe. It's one of the most lucrative business right now. So my question to you is, do you actually need supplements to get a great physique, lose fat or build muscle?
before I answer you, let me talk about one thing. I talked about hunger. Let's talk about the next one. Cravings.
Cravings good.
We cannot avoid cravings. We like sweets. We are human beings. You don't like sweets?
Chocolates,
I like sweets. Chocolates, ice cream.
I
So
know.
the remaining 10 to 20% of your calories can come from those ones now. The things you like. Those little secrets you have, those cravings, those ones. Why is this important? When you consume 80 to 90% of your food from dense foods, you're going to get results. But for you to enjoy your life and not what do you call it? Is it called regress? For you not to regress to bad habits, make sure you consume those things you eat, but those things you like, but in small quantities, about 10 to 20%. They say the best way to avoid temptation is to do the thing that you think is going to destroy your life. It's like you're a doctor. You're a doctor. You guys do vaccines. You vaccine us.
Yeah,
You give us the same thing that is going. You know what I'm saying? Eh?
yeah, I
Tell us
know.
about vaccine.
So vaccines basically we vaccinate you to give you immunity so that if you
Using
yes, so we basically support your body that so that you ever get a disease that we are immunizing against, your body is strong enough to fight it.
But that you mean that vaccine is created from the same disease, right?
Exactly. So we are giving you a live organism or a live microorganism. If, for example, if it is measles, we are giving you like measles virus, but then we have something called live attenuated and non-attenuated. So there those organisms we are giving you live so that your body can fight them and develop immunity. So that if
Get
you ever
stronger.
encounter them in the future, your body is strong enough to fight them away.
The same thing. Those bad foods are not bad foods. They are only bad if they dominate your diet. But if you put them into your diet with a plan, then you never experience cravings. And this is how you do it. So number one, handle hunger. Number two, handle cravings, and this is going to become your lifestyle. Now supplements.
Yeah.
Supplements. Supplements can help. They play an important role for some people, but it's not necessary for all of us, especially going from beginner to intermediate or even those proficient levels. You can do those things without using supplements, because the word supplement, you know what it means. It means supplementing,
Supplementing
adding
something
on
else.
to, yeah, adding on to, like, if I build a house, for it to look beautiful, I can maybe paint the house. Do you know the same house is still okay even without that painting?
That's true.
So supplements play those roles. They just help. They just help, but they're not basics. So the reason why this industry is sorry, the reason why this industry is growing this fast is because people are clueless, and the people who are using supplements are beginners. If you go to my TikTok now, you're going to discover guys who are talking about supplements. They are either the guys who are using drugs or beginners who are very clueless. And someone sold them supplements. The coach told them, for you to work out to be strong, you need to take pre-workouts. You need to take some creatine. Yeah, they can help, but that beginner does not need it. Why do you need pre-workout? Why do you need more caffeine? You can drink coffee, or you don't even need it. You can, you know what I'm saying? Eh? Things like creatine, they are good because they help you with performance. They help you get stronger, which is good for muscle development. They also help you recover faster. But we've just talked here about the reason why women do not lift as heavy as men. Why? They do not have, their muscles are not that big. The same thing applies to us when we're beginners and intermediates. We are not that big. That means we cannot lift very heavy. That means we do not need to recover a lot.
So
That also
basically,
means we
instead
don't
of
need
stuffing
supplements.
yourself, so it means that instead of stuffing yourself with creatine to improve your performance, first test your body until your body can reach somewhere, so that the creatine can come in to support you, and that's when you're almost at the proficient level, or
Yeah, when you
maybe
are very
you are
advanced.
exactly.
Wh-
So I think supplements are not necessarily bad, but
They are
then
good.
they are not the foundation. For example, supplements cannot replace food.
They can't.
They can't. For that one, I
Supplements
want
are
us
good.
to.
Supplements are good, but they are not the basics. Period.
But I also think the BS supplements. Okay, we all know that yes, as beginners, even intermediates might not need supplements. But also, I'm sure there are supplements out there which are just BS. Like we actually do not need them. So, what are those supplements that actually someone, even if you take supplements, you're going into your advanced phase and you want to introduce supplements, or you've hit a plateau, or you're struggling to get your macros in? What are those supplements that should someone even think about? Because I know there are so many supplements on market out there.
Actually, this is a big topic that I have not really gone deep into it because I'm not interested in supplements. But maybe I can give some few guidelines. When you look at supplements, why ask yourself why do I need this supplement, and who is the person telling me to use these supplements? If it's the coach, maybe they are selling it and they want to make some money. So it might be a good supplement, but the wrong timing, because beginners are the ones who fall for these tricks. They are still new, they don't understand what they're doing, so they are sold supplements because they are told that these supplements are going to help them. When in the real sense, the supplement is good, but it's not useful for them at that moment. So when someone asks me what are good supplements, I can tell them, number one, I'll talk about the good ones. I know about the bad ones, but I might lie if I go deep. It's not an area I've studied very well. But this is what I will tell someone. So what are good supplements? Number one, we have the micronutrients. Since we live this fast life and you might consume foods carelessly, there are some foods most foods are lacking some of these micronutrients you need.
And our body
These are
needs them.
minerals and vitamins. But it's not for you to decide. if you suspect something is wrong, maybe your potassium is not okay, maybe your magnesium is not okay, maybe you're lacking
Like
some
vitamin D,
vitamin, go to the
vitamin
doctor.
B12.
Yeah, go to doctors who deal with those things. Let them do a blood work. Then they will discover your problem. Then they will tell you which supplements you need to take. But before you even get there, if you focus on this compound, nutrient dense foods, it's very hard for you to develop these deficiencies.
Deficiencies.
So first of all, just do the things we are saying here. Make sure 80 to 90% of your food comes from these nutrient dense foods. Then it's very unlikely for you to experience these deficiencies. But in case you feel like you have these deficiencies, the doctor will tell you. Don't let your coach tell you you need. No, 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 no. They want to sell you something. That is number one. Number two, you may need protein supplements, and whey is okay, leucine is okay. These ones are okay. They are just food. You know, when you eat meat, about
Yes,
25% of that meat is
just
protein.
crushed into powder.
So they just extract that protein and they make it into powder. So who needs this? If for some reasons you cannot access enough protein through diet, which is not true, you can, then you can get whey protein or leucine. But you can access them through diet. Why we might say that meat is expensive. Yes, meat is expensive, but so is the whey protein and the leucine protein. So me, I would rather you eat meat instead. So
Actually, my
people,
friend, whey protein is not sustainable in the long run.
mm,
It's
mm.
expensive.
So protein supplements, those ones are okay, but most of us we do not need them. Those big guys who compete on the stage, one of the reasons why they use these protein supplements is because they need a lot of protein, and they know their stomachs cannot. Like someone needs like 4,000 calories. Do you think all that food is going to fit in the stomach?
No.
It can't. So that's why they need to drink some of it because it cannot fit in the stomach. It's too much. But for you and I, we can get them from food. So we do not need protein supplements. We do not need micronutrient supplements unless the doctor says, or unless you're in a position where you cannot get protein from food, which is almost impossible. Because as long as we have food, you're good to go. You don't need those ones. Then the last one is pre-workouts. Those ones are bullshit. Don't do them. Leave them alone. You don't need them. You know what I'm saying? Caffeine,
Actually,
pre-workouts, you don't need those things. Leave them.
how about testable stars?
Those ones are drugs,
I'm sure you've
and they
seen
will
them on market as well.
run away. The only proteins you should consider, not proteins, sorry. The only supplements you should ever consider. Number one, protein supplements. Number two, micronutrients supplements. Number three, creatine. Those three. And these ones, we have already established that you do not need them now. Micronutrients, the doctor will tell you.
And for me, here is my challenge. Okay, someone comes and they want whey protein and they are a complete beginner. But then the whey protein costs an arm and leg. So they can only afford a one-time off, like buy one tin. But then when the tin is done, now they're already struggling to get a second tin. So it's basically means that you're starting something that you cannot sustain.
You can't.
And you're not going to get results by just taking one tin of protein.
It's peer pressure. They are being pressured. They are being lied to. They are told, if you take this, you'll get big. That's a lie. You will not grow fast. You'll grow slowly because muscles don't grow fast.
How about mass gainers? Talk about mass gainers.
Those are useless things.
Market.
Those are useless things. Do not even waste your time thinking about them. Some of them just increase your appetite, so that you can eat more food. When you eat more food, you get more calories. When you get more calories, you get bigger. and that's why athletes use them, because they need to be big. I know you guys have a very powerful national rugby team, just like us.
Yeah,
Those
we do
guys are
have.
monsters. Like, I have a brother who is 7 years younger than me, but he is massive. He is very big. He
The
plays
most.
rugby. He plays rugby. They are given those mass gainers, but they just make you, they just increase your appetite for you to eat more food. When you eat more food, you get bigger. And those
And
people
also,
play,
most of the mass gainers, they have a lot of dextrin, which is basically like IV glucose.
yeah. And then
Like, they're just like
some of
empty
them
calories.
have, some of them have illegal substances, things like those synthetic testosterone steroids. So the thing is, if someone tells you they want to help you gain muscle faster, just run away. Run away, don't look back. If you're an athlete and the substances are allowed, that's okay, because it's your job. You will make some money with it. But if you're a normal person, you're a doctor, you're a waiter, or whatever work you're doing, do not be lied to take anything that you do not need now, because you're not competing. So run away. Those mass gainers are not good for you. They may not destroy your life, but do you want to look like a balloon? No. We're together.
Wow. So it's almost 2 hours. There are so many topics to talk about, but we can always schedule another stream, guys. For now, I think I will let Shredlane go and rest. At a convenient time, we shall be able to schedule another stream, guys. Maybe your parting shots to my viewers.
Yeah, so thank you for hosting me. I am grateful to be here, and I'm looking forward to see you guys again in the next stream.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. It's been a honor hosting you, having met you. I mean, internet is just the way to go. You meet amazing people. So um, I think this is just a start. We shall always have once in a while topics to talk about you guys, so that you can learn one or two things. Do not just start the journey blindly. You need to have a little bit of some knowledge, some guidance, and we're just here to guide you. I'm giving you all this free information. By the way, you've not paid anything to be able to access this information. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Let them know your channel so that they can go and subscribe as well. And I also make sure that I link his channel in the description.
Yeah, please just put the link. The name is hard. Kinyumu Chalo. That's the name. I think I'll change it soon. But for now, I'm just using my name. Kinyumu Chalo.
Why not
You'll put
Shredlane
it
on YouTube?
I've not changed it to Shredlane yet.
Okay, we shall talk about that as
Just
well.
link it.
But otherwise, you've been awesome viewers. As always, see you in the next one. Mad love. Bye.
Bye.
So for